Society is always a main theme in post-apocalyptic movies. If it's the society that destroyed itself, the one that is separated into little groups, or the one that rebuilt its infrastructure, reborn as a dystopian counterpart. But movies also tend to differ. A movie in which major parts have been rebuilt or are still intact develops more often into a dystopian, heterotopian science fiction movie, while post-apocalyptic movies focus on the outcome, the destruction, in which a rebuild seems a sheer fantasy. The line that separates those two is very thin, and certain elements are visible on both sides. While rebuilding society and its infrastructure sounds like an immense task, it will be the task we would all be trying to achieve. Not because society tells us to, but because we know that our life was easier, simpler and better with it. This is also observable in our society. After earthquakes, tsunamis or wars, everyone who can tries to help, even if it's from another country. We organize and together ultimately overcome the problems we are faced with, rebuilding and starting anew. We are dependent on the social connections helping us through. If it's our parents, our friends, neighbors, employees, but especially all the people who make the infrastructure in which we live possible. Accessibility to food, shelter, medical treatment every day. What this has to do with post-apocalyptic movies? Everything. The most important feature of a post-apocalyptic movie is its world building. The whole movie revolves around the world the protagonists inhabit. It is necessary to sustain the atmosphere and theme to make the movie realistic and believable. Witnessing the decay of a dying world, explaining the importance of resources, and the connections to others living in this world. How far the movie explains these will determine a big chunk of its quality. Characters must be realistic and believable, having clear motivations, fitting into the main theme of the movie. The people you meet in the road are horrifying, but they fit into the movie because the motivation of survival is clear and believable in the realm of its world. In Mad Max Fury Road, they mostly are ready to die at any point, but their motivation is explained through religious ideas and the use of drugs. They also show reason and rational behavior. And if there are huge explosions and fights, our main characters are vulnerable. They are just as human as everyone else, which makes them believable. But no matter how believable post-apocalyptic movies are, they tend to show us a very different kind of society, which does not apply to our real world. You won't simply survive on strength and stamina in a post-apocalypse, neither will you on your own. You will need water, food, shelter, clothing, medication, and you will need the knowledge how to get those without getting yourself killed. You will need someone who does have the knowledge and a place that has those resources. You will need to interact and exchange knowledge, resources, or offer physical labor. Risking a fight that may end your life is not only very risky, but also highly irrational. If you can, you would avoid any kind of fight due to its immediate or subsequent consequences. Professions and the knowledge will be needed to sustain and improve standards of living. Not only knowledge about medical treatment, but also about farming crops, filtering water and repairing and maintaining machines, electricity and cars. There might be no place for white-collar work, but if all automation needs to be repaired or is barely functional, many are needed to fulfill these certain tasks. But the biggest distinct difference after an apocalypse is the ethical change and the recurring theme that once humans have no rules, no bindings to society, they will bring out the worst of them and turn on each other. Cannibalism, rape, murder. While those probably will rise during an apocalypse, it is nowhere near the amount as it is represented in movies. Used as a story element but often overused, they produce a sampling error, which sticks in our minds. As an example, we have The Walking Dead and The Road, which both heavily rely on it. By focusing only on the worst people, they create the impression in which all people turn on each other, except the protagonists, which we choose to sympathize with of the sole reason. While in reality, the people who are a harm for society or themselves are just a very tiny fraction being taken care of. The Walking Dead even goes so far by making many characters the group meets insane, turn on them, or both, and they use the story element again and again, season for season. The Road does it more subtle, and lets us tumble in constant fear of others, representing us the horror the protagonists encounter. The movie furthermore uses these elements to make us heavily sympathize with the protagonists.
Because we're the good guys.
Yes.
And we're carrying the fire.
Yes.
While The Road displays a believable world within its theme, it is not realistic and applicable to our world. And The Walking Dead makes our society look even worse, letting everyone turn on each other with no explainable motivation or reason. While all these elements mentioned cover around our idea of society, they are mostly just fiction and do not represent real outcomes. Of course, this does not mean that you should not enjoy such masterpieces as The Road. You should just be able to differentiate between the movie's take on society and the actual processes in our society.